Welcome to Mobile Legends!
Brothers on either side got lots to prove here in this specific matchup. We are loading it in. So I'm expecting a little bit of a similar lineup here for NXPE. That lineup where they do prioritize the Julian. We've seen that. We've seen teams ban out junglers against NXPE, specifically for H2O as well.
Yeah. And there you go. The Akai's going to get taken out here. I was wondering if that was going to be left open, but it's not. And also, there goes the pretty much just targeted bans towards H2O, right? This is what we're expecting.
Yeah, and I want to mention this earlier. ONIC will be definitely using that as their game plan in the draft. They're going to want to whittle the options of H2O as much as possible. If they're not going to be able to bring those down, at least put it in a controlled environment of, oh, we've taken out most of your assassins, so we'll know your most likely options and we'll be ready to counter it. ONIC, I'm loving the bans that they're dishing out. You have to respect the Natalia. NXPE, will they respect the Faramis or the Diggy is my question. It's the Faramis they're respecting. The Diggy will be open for ONIC if they want to pick that later. The Julian is available for the first pick alongside the 1-1. Will ONIC give that, get that? They got it for themselves. They don't want to give it to Donut.
Yeah, the usual issue with lineups that you draft with the Diggy is it's easily counterable by lineups who create so much damage output.
Yes.
They don't go for the crowd control, they go straight for the heart. And that's something that, again, ONIC will have to think about if they do want to draft that Diggy into their lineup. Very unlikely here. And on the other side, that's going to be NXPE once more with the availability to pick up a Julian and the Beatrix.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you could just take the Beatrix so it's not banned out later, because that's the typical matchup that we normally see against the 1-1, especially if it's going to be left open here, right? But we'll see. NEXPLAY EVOS has a couple options. Julian was one of them. Very adaptable, flexible hero here. And they rounded out, of course, with the Beatrix. This is very common, once again, the matchup in the gold lane.
Yep, perfect. Beatrix, most of the time she was picked this season, have always been in the first two picks on the red side. The Julian as well, very hotly contested. ONIC, they go ahead and pick up the Cho. That is not confirmed to be a roam Cho, but nope. I'm going to have to eat my words there. With them picking up the Esmeralda, it'll be Ryota having the Esmeralda in his hands, while the Roam Cho will be on the hands of Rapidut. Now for NXPE, they already went ahead and picked it. They go for the Dairoth. So the immediate counter to the Esmeralda. NEXPLAY EVOS will have to ban out those strong mid lane heroes, though, that they don't want to give to ONIC-PH. I'm going to be thinking about NXPE potentially banning out the Eve. Yes, the lineup of NXPE is already a nightmare for Eves to handle against, but we've seen so far this season that Eves usually don't care because they position incredibly well. But with NEXPLAY EVOS taking out the Matilda, I'm thinking NEXPLAY EVOS actually might pick up the Eve for themselves, or even potentially the Farsa, and put that Julian in the jungle.
And once more, NXPE is leaning towards that heavy damage lineup.
Yeah.
We've seen them run through.
This is funny because, as you were mentioning, they did this last week, where they literally only had the Dairoth there even though he's not a tank or anything at all, but he was literally the most tanky person on the lineup, and they still made it work.
Isn't it risky to do that against a team like ONIC, who seems to be ready to prove something, who seem to be really studying their opponents? I mean, to repeat that must mean a lot of confidence for NXPE here.
Yeah, and I like that NXP are actually considering that. When you're up against a young squad, one of the ways that veterans would want to deal with them is to really throw them off early on, test their ability to make a comeback. How are you going to handle the pressure? Now that one of your favorite picks, the Diggy, is gone, NEXPLAY EVOS is saying, okay, you take away our Natalia, but we still have crazy amounts of damage on our lineup. If they're not going to pick those long-range artillery mages like the Eve or the Farsa, I won't be surprised if NEXPLAY EVOS decides to pick up something like a Kagura, if that Julian will be going into the jungle. But in terms of the jungle options here for H2, Lancelot will still be there if he wants to, but right now I feel it in my soul that Julian is going to go into the hands of H2.
You know, we've seen such a beautiful performance. You would think, why not give it to Yelly Hayes, right? As well as H2O. So for the meantime, I think that the Hayabusa ban is very worthy as well.
Yep.
Just in case.
Just because they're all damaged right now doesn't mean they're not going to pick more damage.
Yeah.
So I love that ONIC's also reading into that. Obviously, they have done their homework.
Yeah.
And that's something you want to see for this young squad here. on the blue side. On the right side, in the red side though, I think it's also a pretty easy answer to ban out the Diggy so that the enhanced chain can do more damage in the team fights, which I think is what they want to go for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to see in just a couple seconds here what this next pick is, but I know you're saying, Renmar, you think the Julian's going in the jungle here. There you go. So Ruby is going to be picked up, right? I would love to actually see the Julian go in the hands of Yelly Hayes again, because I just, after seeing him play that before, I think it's going to work great for them. Although I still do believe, generally, if it wasn't Yelly Hayes, I like Julian in the jungle too.
Yeah, and with that Ruby, one of a very old popular combo is Ruby and Eve. To see if NXP will go for that. ONIC, their picks. That's how voice said. Okay, it was Grok. Grok and Selena are their lock-ins. I like it. Because of the crazy amounts of damage that NXP can pull off, you're gonna need traps and you're gonna need vision to stop from NEXPLAY EVOS from getting into position and surprising it, because that's something NEXPLAY EVOS does so well even without the Natalia. And they even respected the Grok that Mycophobia had a great game in. But it's gonna be a Paquito in the jungle, and it looks like they're gonna be giving that Julian to Yelly Hayes. So still, looking at the lineup of NEXPLAY EVOS, that's damage. That's pure, absolute odd team fight. And their goal will be simple. Get nets. Because the ONIC lineup will be heavily reliant on that 1-1.
Yeah, they definitely wanted to go ahead and do those picks. NXP might bite their lip a little bit there. They miss on the opportunity to counter this massive amount of crowd control that's going to be coming from ONIC without the Diggy. So this should be very interesting, specifically in the mid lane, where I expect a lot of kills to be started off, a lot of team fights to be started by ONIC Philippines because of that Selena and Grok pick.
Yeah, as long as the locations of those traps are on point, man, they really can stop that flow of NXPE. If NEXPLAY EVOS can luckily avoid traps, avoid getting Abyssal arrowed, then they have a chance to just surprise ONIC-PH.
Yeah, horrible scaling, but definitely great team fight later on here against pure damage output. Let's see what's gonna happen as we load up in the game number 1, the first match of the day, NXP versus ONIC Philippines.
Oh, I'm gonna have to. Oh wow, they brought back something that has like a 50-50 chance of working. That is statistical, guys. 1-for-1 right now. It's a Jungle Cho on the hands of ONIC-PH.
Jungle Cho.
What?
That's what I was wondering as we were loaded up here. I'm like, hold on.
Who's the jungler?
Who's the jungle for ONIC Philippines? And okay, so we haven't seen this in a while, but maybe it's going to work better this time, right? Already with the Naka plus the Abyssal Arrow, and it's going to work for them as they get first blood here for ONIC Philippines.
That's what we were saying. ONIC-PH with that Selena can stop the aggressive tempo NEXPLAY EVOS wants to play by playing around Super Princess Selena.
Earlier, we were talking about ONIC NXPE trying to throw off the New Bloods, ONIC Philippines. It's happening the other way around here.
Oh, yeah.
That Jungle Cho really screwed up the team fighting plans here of ONIC for NXPE in the first few minutes of the game.
So what I'm wondering too is, you know, because he's running that jungle emblem, he's got the Demon Slayer, and H2O is running the Assassin emblem. You know, how will that match up here? Now, yes, H2O is going to have an amazing damage output on the Paquito here, but in terms of the objectives, like we were talking previously before we got even into the drafting phase, there's been that kind of dynamic shift between completely focusing on objectives the entire game and also looking for scrappy fights, right?
Yeah.
And I think, again, that's what NEXPLAY EVOS wants to do here. The question is, will they be able to pull that off with what ONIC Philippines has?
Yeah, exactly. I'm looking at H2 and James to be the key players for the early turtle fights of this game. Of course, with the raw damage output those two can dish out, it can mess up the plans of ONIC. Let's see how the dynamic of the Cho jungle will work here. How is he going to utilize the Way of the Dragon? Will he just really be using it to kick away members of NXPE, or will he put himself into assassin-like position?
I would say it looks pretty good though. As team fighting goes level 4, you don't want to go against a Cho, but
Okay, he's going to miss the knockup. He actually used the Retribution as well, trying to focus on James here. So they should have the information of this because H2O still has his Retribution for this first turtle of the game. They're going to spot out Rapidude here. Gets the enhanced chains knocked up there. There's going to be the flicker of the wild charge combo, but no kill just yet. Rapidude still up. Let's see if they can actually focus on the turtle. Abyssal Arrow not going to land it. There's the chains. Yelly Hayes grabbed a kill for himself. plus the turtle over here to NEXTPLAY EVOS. They're going to be happy with that, an objective and a kill.
H2 and James putting themselves in great positions for that turtle, but of course the play there of Yelly Haze to commit on taking out the tank of ONIC-PH. Rapidude, you saw what he was trying to do. He wanted to land that ultimate right on the edge of that turtle pit so that you get the longer stun and more damage onto H2, but he missed it by, you can't see me put my fingers close together, that much.
A little bit.
Just by that much.
And basically it's becoming really, really scary here for NXP to take the team fights as well, if you think about it, because of the Cho, but man, the arrows aren't really hitting their marks as much as I thought they should. They're playing, surprisingly, ONIC is playing a little passive, but you know what you have to think about is you got to think about who gets more assists, Super Friends or Mycophobia. You got a chance to win that. Just type it in on the bottom with hashtag Samson. Awesome always wins.
Okay, well, I mean, as you're joining the value prediction here, give it a go because this is going to be quite the matchup. As we're seeing a lot of these initiations coming out, whether that's going to be from Sensui or even those abyssal arrows like you mentioned, they're not exactly finding the targets just yet.
Not yet,
but it's kind of the same thing when there's a Franco across the board. You can miss all the abyssal arrows in the world, but if you land one that really counts at some point in the game, it could turn the tide here. A little bit different than Hook, but could still be the same effect.
Yeah, speaking of turning the tide here, H2, the early game for a Paquito, he already has the item he needs. He already picked up the Hunter Strike. That's all you need. Really, when you're an Assassin Emblem Paquito, when you have the Hunter Strike, you're good. You're happy with the damage output you can dish out. So, as expected, they're going to go for an aggressive play up top.
Mycophobia leaving the charge here against Ryota, his former teammate. Is he going to be able to survive? Ryota moves and grooves. Still able to survive for now. Now Sensui joining the party. Rapidude just around the corner too. Mycophobia's got to be careful here. Not sure if they want to commit, but that's going to be a disengage from ONIC Philippines. Now Turtle comes up side of the map.
All right, so we're seeing a little bit of an oopsie here, right? Where we're seeing a lot of the crowd controls not really hitting their mark. It's showing, you know, the little bit of a, what do you call that, nerves coming in maybe for ONIC Philippines, Raptor?
Oh, nerves, maybe? Not really. I think it looks more like great response, and that's a great movement there in the mid.
That's going to be a total combination here. Wait, the Dragon follows up on it. They find the kill on Yelly Haze. ONIC Philippines going to find one. It gets the numbers advantage. Abyssal Arrow's going to land here. Quite low. Rapidude flickers out. Still going to be alive, though. And now the 2 versus 1 in the mid. Meanwhile, the turret at bottom gets taken out. Actually, at top gets taken out by James. So once again, they're happy with the objective. Now NEXTPLAY EVOS are focusing on the next one, looking to grab their second turtle of the game.
And that's where you see, again, the difference in damage output, the raw damage output that NXP can dish out with a Hunter Strike there on the Paquito, and of course a Hunter Strike as well. That was for the Dairoth, that was the first item that James built up. That's already a lot of physical damage, and you see both the members of ONIC already scrambling to build those defensive items. Rapidude, as expected, going for the Dominance Eyes first to reduce the healing and of course the damage output of the physical damage, and of course the steel leg plates, or leg plates is a bit of a long word for me, so I just call them the pants. The steel pants on the Esmeralda and the 1-1. They are respecting the damage output that NXP has, and quite right too.
Donut locking in the Blade of Despair as well. Seems to be very, very ready to go for fights here.
Wow. You see that? I mean, that's just a little bit of a combination there from James and already taking down Ryota less than half health. So, as you just mentioned, Rumar, that's pretty much how much damage he's already packing. And now here in the jungle, they're going to miss Rapidude. Still going to be alive for now. But we see a lot of these, I don't want to say it's forced, right? But NEXTPLAY EVOS is pretty much matching ONIC Philippines in terms of we want to find a pick. We have the tools for it, but unfortunately, they haven't been able to find all the ones they want to. Despite still having this 1.5K gold lead, a lot of that, once again, has to do with the objective advantage that they have right now, which is kind of crazy considering that H2O is running the Assassin Emblem.
Yeah, in fairness, I mean, H2O has been foregoing some of the early initiates just to farm up.
Yeah.
He really wanted to go for those Hunter Strikes. He wants to get more damage after the Hunter Strike, which it will compound to the Assassin Emblem that he is using. So, if you notice, H2O is going in the last second.
Yeah.
Oh, there's going to be the combination of CC, but Mycophobia going to be just fine. The most tanky hero here. Conceal going to commit, but just going to focus on that turret. They need to get another objective for NEXTPLAY EVOS.
Yeah. I bet Rapidude was super sad he didn't have his ultimate at that moment because that wall looked like, hey, Donut, you're in a
Exactly.
bad spot, but he didn't have his
It was
ultimate.
funny because Donut was just literally standing next to a wall.
Yeah.
He's like, there we go.
Way of the Dragon plus the arrow, the combination. You can't escape it. Mycophobia plus the crossbow of Tang. Double kill for Nets now working on James. The flicker comes out. He tried to get the Vism strike off, but he couldn't get it. And another kill going from the hands of ONIC Philippines.
H2O.
They're happy with that, but the return coming from NEXPLAY EVOS. H2O popping the damage, but he's going to get stunned. Knocked up here by Rapidude. Here comes Ryota with a falling Star Moon, trying to help Super Prince out as he takes down H2O. ONIC Philippines throwing it in their favor.
Great mechanical counter by ONIC-PH. Could have gotten worse after NXP decided to respond in the initial pickoffs in mid, but ONIC stuck to their guts, stuck to their cards. That was a great ultimate by Rapidude to knock up H2, opening up the response by Ryota to enter, but of course it all started with the rest of ONIC telling Nets, hey, it's time to get you in the kill board. 2 kills there for the 1-1. Yes, it's a risky lineup in the sense that the 1-1 is the main factor, the main key of this lineup, but when you make things like that happen, it will work.
At the end of the day, the crowd control is just there. The kill threat is always there here for ONIC. That's something that they're not afraid to flex.
There's going to be the way of the Dragon right on Mycophobia. He's going to get knocked up here, but still alive. And meanwhile, in the mid lane, Nets looking for another setup with a crossbow of Tang. Can't get it off just yet, but they do find H2O. There's the flicker in from Donut as he finds Nets, punishing him. Gets the kill. It's a 1-for-1.
Man, that reminds me of how I like to play the bait tricks. I flicker right in your face and then deal damage and then die. But Donut didn't die there. That's why he's a pro.
And this is not unprecedented. Donut has been doing this flicker in with the Matrix a lot in the season so far.
Well, Ryota should be fine there, but this is what we're seeing actually. Like I said, despite Yelly Hayes being, he's died 3 times, but he's actually doing quite a good job at finding the chains, right?
He's throwing the chain.
He's literally just tossing chains out there, and if it's not him, Mycophobia is there to help kind of put out that CC. But notice the gold lead. It's kind of diminished a little bit here, right? The kill, obviously advantage over on the side of ONIC Philippines, but NEXPLAY EVOS still could actually match these team fights. That's one thing for sure, because the goal is pretty even across the board.
But what we're seeing, obviously, is NXP having a hard time surviving against ONIC right now.
True, with all the crowd control that ONIC has, ONIC is sidestepping really well, and so far, my personal star of this game for ONIC is Rapidude. He's had 2 ultimate knockups that have been absolutely clutch in making sure ONIC would win team fights, and there's a knockup already coming in by Sensui.
It'll be the way of the Dragon. Sensui finds Mycophobia. He's still alive for now until he goes down by Nets. Lord's still going to be worked on here. Finally secured by Sensui. There's going to be the wild charge. Nets looking for the crossbow of Tang. Gets it off. He finds Donut. Gets another one as James falls. And they're happy with that. The Lord plus the 3 kills. ONIC Philippines could be looking for another one here. Yelly Hayes going to get crashed down on. Abyssal Arrow does not find its mark. They might still be looking for a play here as Ryota goes deep in. And now the tier 1 turret for the taking.
Hayes is trying to run. Can he get away? Ryota's gonna dive under tower with him, and he gets down the Julian. Yelly Hayes taken out. ONIC have full control of this match with a massive gold lead again. It's control versus damage, and control is winning things out right now.
Beautifully decisive. That is ONIC Philippines right now. They do not feel like the rookies in this game, and they are flexing every single lane that they can.
Man, like you said, this is Redmar pointed out Rapidude, and it's definite, right? He's
MVP
just showing,
performance, yeah.
This Grok pick here, very, very valuable. And I know that Leo mentioned in the panel, they went with Atlas a lot, but I think this Grok works so well. There's the combo.
Beautiful.
The flicker in with the wild charge, followed by the crossbow of Tang. Nets just profiting off that as he's on a killing spree. H2O finds a kill for himself, but has to retreat. Lord's still gonna be working on the turret here. Super Prince popped the Abyssal Arrow, and they hold on to the turret in the base for NEXPLAY EVOS, so they're happy with that. ONIC Philippines loses 2, but it's 2-for-2 trade across the board.
As the kids say, that entry by the Grok was hype AF. But NXPE responded incredibly well. You cannot deny that. It could have been absolutely terrible, the outcome of that, but they only lost 2. They miraculously held on to that inhibitor or that base turret up top, but that's just like 1 poke away from going down. But still, NEXPLAY EVOS, a great response from what was a great initiation by ONIC. As we look at the gold right now, Nets and Donut incredibly close. This is the great news for NXPE. Despite the massive lead that ONIC has at this point at 4K, Donut is just roughly around 800 gold of a deficit behind Nets' 1-1.
I have to say, it's actually difficult for NXP to start these fights because Yelly is a little behind. From experience, I can tell you, as a Julian, if you don't scale early, it is difficult to start off your team. You don't have that confidence that you would normally have or normally need to pull off those big enhanced chains. So, regardless of that, NXP is still definitely in the game, like you said.
I think they're having a hard time, too, at this point, just finding Nets, right?
Yes,
because, or even Super Prince, because Super Prince is just chilling in the back. He's literally just sitting in the back, popping off those arrows, and, you know, letting the rest do the work here. Because how do you even get to Nets? Like, a 1-1 is already hard enough to catch, right? But when you have all the CC being thrown at you to deal with, it's even harder. So that is one of the biggest obstacles here for NEXTPLAY EVOS is getting that biggest damage output out from Nets, but they can't find it.
But you have to remember, the scaling here for ONIC is a little horrible compared to NXPE.
Exactly.
So they are on the timer here.
Yeah,
a definite timer, but again, if ONIC can really just get those timings off of that 1-1 and Nets can stay alive, they have it. But that's the tremendous point you brought up there. NXP have way more options compared to ONIC right now, despite them having this lead. So if NXPE turn it around, if they somehow, and that is the biggest question there, somehow if they can get the Nets, burst him down, they will definitely be able to turn the team fight around. But they have to pick off that 1-1 early.
True. They don't even need a lead. They just need to equalize here at this point.
Yes.
And they should be in a good spot. But again, ONIC is making a statement here. You can't even go out of your base. And NXP is very well aware.
I think the biggest factor for both teams, I mean, maybe not so much for ONIC Philippines, but especially for NEXTPLAY EVOS is getting Nets to burn that Wind of Nature, right? Because even if you make the initiation, let's say it's Yelly Hayes that gets a knockup, let's say it's Mycophobia, and he buys time, then that allows ONIC Philippines to respond and counter that initiation. So they have to be mindful of that, work around that. And I think we're going to see it here as once again they're on the defensive as Lord also marches up top.
Yeah, Immortality already there for Sensui and for Rapidude as well. Let's see if ONIC will go for an aggressive entry, but they're waiting for the Lord. NXPE, they're going to have their work cut out against them. ONIC really, really close. What's going to happen here?
Base going to be completely exposed here now as this Lord's going to go ahead and march in for this last turret. Didn't even need it. The powered up minions grab that one, so here we go. NEXTPLAY EVOS has to defend, but the Flicker Wild Charge comes in, and there's the damage from Nets as he gets the crossbow of Tang off again, getting the double, making the triple, and the base falls here. ONIC Philippines taking game number 1.
Decisive and precise ONIC Philippines did not fail us in this matchup. That is beautiful, actually. Come on, Rapidu's MVP. Reptar says identity isn't such a bad thing, but small adjustments are very much welcome.
Yeah, and here we go. We're going to see how they changed, right? We do still have, again, ONIC Philippines on the blue side, NEXTPLAY EVOS on the red, and early bans already going to come out here. ONIC Philippines taking out the Ling. I think we're just going to see the first couple bans from ONIC Philippines once again going to be targeted at H2O specifically. And that's the thing too, you know, going back to that jungler pick, the Paquito that he had, he actually did quite a good job. I mean, even securing objectives for the majority of the game, once again, rolling with that Assassin Emblem. So we'll see how they play around that this time. And in just a few moments, we'll see what NEXTPLAY EVOS decides to ban out. This is typical. Red side will probably have to take out that Valentina, and maybe they decide to just take out the Akai again.
Yeah, if they take out, okay, if NEXTPLAY EVOS takes out the Akai early, a part of my soul tells me that they might actually end up thinking about picking up the Hellcurt eventually.
Huh.
Hellcurt is something that
Of all the assassins,
pro
Reptar.
teams have been trying out. Yeah, because we've been having a weird relationship with Hellcurt for 2 seasons now.
Yeah.
Suddenly we're surprised he gets picked up. So then this season I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try to sniff around, you know, try to sniff around, see if their teams actually like using Hellcurt, and I haven't seen anything in particular, but I've been hearing rumors that teams have been trying out Hellcurt again.
Again?
Yeah.
Really? Well, Hellcurt does do a lot for your team fight. It really disrupts enemy movements.
Yep.
They have to rely so much more on communication. Maybe that's a good test of the enemy comms there. If
Yeah.
they don't have good comms, they will fall on their faces.
And remember what I said earlier, if you're not gonna go for pure damage, maybe try to go for something that can control. Taking out the eyesight of your opponents is a good thing to do.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a yummy Akai man right there.
There's the Akai, yeah.
If I get that Hellcurt pick right, well, I'm just doing my job, folks.
For me, that Akai bat just signals that NXP wants to do pretty much similar to what they did
Yes.
earlier. They don't want that crowd control to disrupt their chain AoE effect skills. So
I'm wondering if they even want to go with the chain effects again, right? Do they even want to take the Julian again? And that's the thing. I think for NEXTPLAY EVOS, one of the things that can solve this to take it to a Game 3 is, and it's funny because Ruby can be this hero for Mycophobia to initiate fights and everything else, but again, going up against what ONIC Philippines had the previous game, it couldn't work. So I think a lot of success still relies on Mycophobia, right? To find those initiations, and one of the best heroes that he had was obviously that Natalia, right? Where he could actually dictate a lot of the pace here. So I want to see Mycophobia get a hero that allows him to do that again. And with this ban, the first phase done, very typical. This is what we saw last time. There's the Wanwan showing here. I expect most likely Donut wants to take Beatrix again, and we'll see what that second pick for NEXTPLAY EVOS is going to end up being here once ONIC Philippines decides, do we actually want to take the Wanwan, or maybe we take something else?
it'll be so funny if they did go for Beatrix Julian again, but
The option's there.
options quite there.
I'd rather see them pick up a Farsa right away. Like, I'd be okay with them just go ahead putting the Farsa as one of the first two picks. Because the question usually when you have heroes like Wanwan around is, okay, are we going to consider putting in a control artillery mage? Either Wanwan or either the Farsa. So either the Farsa and then the Beatrix again. I won't mind the Beatrix pick again this early. But since you don't have to worry about ONIC picking up the Beatrix, you can save your marksman pick for later.
Third pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
And then just pick up the Toms alongside the Julian even.
Here goes the Julian. Of course, they don't need to pick the Beatrix here. Maybe you're thinking NXP got too excited earlier. Oh, look at this. Beatrix is available. They don't need to do that right here, right? They can go for something else, unless, they want to go for something that might throw ONIC off right away, or something that they want to deny ONIC.
I think if they don't take the Beatrix, then we could possibly see them taking maybe even a Claude, right? But okay, here we go. The Julian. Is it going to be locked in here? It's the Irithyll.
Oh.
I like it. It's something different.
Something different.
Okay.
They still go for their marksman. They didn't really care about, flexing or disrupting ONIC's picks here. That means NXPE wants to go for their own picks instead. They're going to go for what they're strong with what they practice. And that's good. Again, good confidence coming from the red side here.
Yeah. And now ONIC has to take in mind that these are two very mobile heroes. Especially when the Irithyll gets her ultimate off and she's just freely able to deal a lot of damage going around the Leo. Her actual companion's name is Leo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we found this out. That was a previous cast we had.
Yeah.
We were wondering, what exactly is the cat called?
And we were with Leo at that time.
He has a voice line. Leo, run.
Yeah, Leo, run. So ONIC, I wouldn't be mad at this. Again, you get good sustain on the Esmeralda for the lane, and then of course you get good pick off there. ONIC,
This is Jungle Cho again.
it could, but I think they're just going around the idea that this will be flexed.
Yeah, they're
Some
basically
potential.
it looks like a threat from what it looks like. Like, come on.
Because now it's like roamer
seen it
jungle.
work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Might make NXP overthink a little bit. So NXPE, I'd want to see them pick up their roamer already. Like, I'd be okay with that. Pick up the Kufra. I actually thought they'd pick up a Kufra in the last game instead of the Ruby.
What we've seen work here is to have NXP flex as well. Now, Dairoff, obviously, some people, a very small percentage of people would flex it for jungle, but obviously that's not as prevalent here in the MPL so far. So, surprisingly, very little flex here from NXP, but then again, they don't care about that, right? From what it looks like.
And, I mean, for Dairoth, it's just better if you put it up against the Esmeralda, right? But at the same time, I feel like we don't know 100% yet, but what if this Julian is actually going to go into the jungle this time and they change it up, right? Because the same can be said for ONIC Philippines. What if they change it up? And there's the Grok ban. Okay, I didn't expect Grok to be banned, but, you know, NEXPLAY EVOS is saying, you know, we don't want to deal with that anymore.
I like that what you brought up, though. It could be a different flavor of flex this time for NXP. That, oh, you saw it earlier in the mid lane, but this time we're going to put him in the jungle. And that might throw off ONIC potentially. So ONIC taking away the Franco, taking away Roamers. Atlas is still on the board for NEXPLAY EVOS, but it's not a pick really that... I mean, it's okay. But then I'd want to get more pick off and crowd control to potentially get that 1-1. So with the ban on, oh, they ban out the ad.
What?
I'm really feeling it, guys.
Yeah, you really are.
I'm feeling the hell crit.
There's a small possibility here.
If you get
we
that,
haven't
you get
seen it yet.
Yeah,
but
dude, all the bans, everything right now, and it's pointing to a Hellcurt pick. I feel it in my soul.
all right, and if it does happen, again, once more NXPE, one of the squishiest lineups you'll ever see.
Yeah.
But they do make it work, so that's something ONIC has to keep in mind here.
Cool for a Hellcurt. Come on.
Okay, last ban.
Wait. Diggy's also available too, though.
I like Diggy on pos 5 here on Rome.
For NEXPLAY or
For
ONIC?
NEXPLAY. I actually like it because it does keep you safe from a Cho in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it kind of stops Falling Star Moon shenanigans here.
Yeah,
and a lot of, again, if you're NXP, you're expecting a lot of crowd control still from ONIC.
Yeah.
Based on the last game, right? So,
But then that means then that they need to put a really tanky hero pick for H2 in the jungle if they're gonna go with a Diggy. Because let's say in this situation where it's gonna be a Diggy roam for NXPE, they'll put the Julian in mid, so they'll need something tanky.
That's kind of tanky.
you're looking for
That's
tanky.
kinda tanky. Okay, yeah.
Oh boy.
Diggy might actually work here.
That's kind of
Yeah.
tanky. So, I mean,
Oh.
so, okay, you know, now we pretty much know where the pieces of the puzzle are going here.
No Hellcurt.
There's that.
Yeah,
crowd
no,
control.
sorry, no Hellcurt,
Sorry,
but-
man. Maybe next time.
Yeah, I mean, Karina's going to work well here, especially, I want to know exactly now, we have this Lina coming up here. Is this going to be a Jungle Cho again, or are they going to take something else? You know, with the Abyssal Arrows from the track record from last game, hopefully they have a better track record this game for ONIC Philippines, right? But, okay, they swap it around still. They're not going to lock that in just yet. This could also be very good. And still, if the Benedetta does come out, we have seen Benedetta in the jungle as well.
Yeah.
Massive amounts of control here for ONIC Philippines. And there you go.
Swerve. Last second swerve, though. It's a Paquito instead in the jungle, so it's going to be a Roam Cho along with an Eve.
Now I'm really liking that Diggy pick. You
Yeah.
want to get out of the real world as much as possible, and then maybe attack from the flanks here if you're NXP.
Yeah, but then what hurts is early on, you're going to be up against a Jungle Paquito. I think that's why ONIC adjusted it last second. They went with Jungle Paquito instead, because they're respecting the potential of NXPE to bring out a Diggy. And that Paquito can mess up that Diggy really fast. So I'm liking the safer pick.
It's safer, yeah.
The Kufra, as I mentioned earlier. There we go.
Yeah.
You get to block the dashes of the Cho and the Paquito, even the 1-1, and you get someone who it's going to be really up to Mycophobia to get that Eve, to stop that ultimate as soon as possible.
Yeah, not only that, but you're also you're not relying completely on Karina and Dairoth to tank a bunch of damage, right?
Yes.
Because that's typically what we've seen them do. But now that they lock this Kufra in, I think they're in a lot better position here, especially when it comes to team fights later on. And also, this is once again allows Mycophobia to go back to that point I was saying. I want to see him being able to find those setups because earlier on the Ruby, he really wasn't able to. Now, Kufra does allow him to. It's one of those heroes that he can find those initiations and look for those setups.
I'm actually a really big fan of this NXPE lineup. Again, small adjustment, same identity, but with a little bit of twist, going back to the status quo. We're loading up into game number 2, ladies and gents, for NXPE versus ONIC Philippines here. And
Okay,
it
new skin for Kufra.
Yeah.
just a little bit of a twang here on their lineup. But essentially, they still want to go boom boom as soon as possible. Here we go. So early game, obviously, still big advantages here for ONIC Philippines in terms of map control. With, of course, the picks that we have. We have Rapidote on the Cho this time around, who seems to be very, very proactive as a support, as a roam.
Respectable drafts from both teams. It's no one with a clear advantage over the other. It'll just really be down to execution. Because now with Mycophobia playing something like the Kufra, as long as him and James or Yelly Haze are on the right page, now they have a much better tools to find that 1-1, hunt it down.
Yeah, and I also feel like James will have a better time on this Dairoth, especially looking for those plays that he was doing. He was trying to do the combination of the Abysm Strike with the flickers and everything else, but there was just like way too much CC to deal with. Now, there is still quite a bit here for ONIC Philippines, but I think not as much as the previous game. But already, look how aggressive Rapidude is here, right? Even on this roam Cho, still able to chunk down Mycophobia and force him back for now.
And that's exactly what you want here, especially against a lineup that has an airfill. You want them to feel that presence. And what you want to feel is that QR.
That's so fast.
That was so fast.
Yeah, that was so fast.
I could barely. I hope someone got a screenshot of that. You got yourself some treats here from MLBB. And obviously, we are still seeing NXP kind of taking more of a precaution here, having H2O more topside oriented compared to the bottom.
Yeah, and both teams will just really play it safe for now. Actually, this is almost the same rotations coming in from both junglers of the team. Sensui and H2 rotated the exact same way in the last game.
Okay, well, we can see both teams exactly just keeping an eye on everybody, right? The turtle does spawn now. Again, you're talking about the jungle emblem on H2O, should give them that priority here. But you can already see ONIC Philippines actually going to start this one up. They want to get this information that they need. They want to get the space around this first objective, and they're going to give it a go here. There's Mycophobia charging up here. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, they're going to push Ryota back. Real world manipulation does come down. Rapidude trying to zone them out here. Turtle less than half health. There's the falling star moon. They take quite a bit of damage in that big box. Oh! And there you go.
Wow.
What a pick here in a play.
All of that work. Whew, just for H2 to steal it away. They were so chill, by the way.
That was right at the edge of where you can hit the retribution from. At first, my mind was boggled with how NXP tried to fight. Like, are you guys seriously walking right under the real world manipulation?
Yeah.
Like, I was second guessing NXP, but then H2 said, "Oh, thank you."
Yeah, literally. Just walked up and was like, thanks. I'll take that.
Retribution diff.
Good leash.
Oh, man, there's the setup from Mycophobia and H2O grabbing the first blood here. That's exactly what we were talking about. Mycophobia finding the setups here for the team. So they're going to be happy with that. And now they can focus on this top side, get a bunch of extra gold while you're at it for Donut.
Yeah, all that gold is actually really, really helpful on this Aerithal. That's why NXP is taking very good care of that, putting more pressure on the nets. The experience difference is actually very apparent on the gold lane.
Yeah, I mean, again, and with Donut being on this Aerithal pick, it works really well for them, especially in the scaling department. But when those team fights happen and you have that mobility option for you, it's just a lot better than feeling on a Beatrix where you rely so much on that flicker ability.
Yeah, I'm actually going to be looking at the itemization of Donut if he's going to build the Wind of Nature as a second item.
Yeah, here comes Mycophobia with a setup again. Rapidude goes down here. This one going over to Donut, going to be happy with that. And again, Mycophobia finding moments for the team.
I like it. That's why NXPE picked up that Kufra. They wanted something with a little bit more jump. Ruby can jump, but she jumps in the
It's a little short.
little
This
skips.
is a longer jump.
Yeah, it's a longer jump.
Yeah, and their
ways
combo,
of surprise.
their combo works very well with Donut. I mean, that eliminates almost anyone in ONIC right now. So that's something that they're going to have to keep on their minds as NXP are looking to have more control of the map, even getting that turtle eat up once more.
Yeah, so the second turn of the game here. And again, it's going to depend on this transition that they have, right? Donut's very well protected, right? That's what we're seeing here with a lot of these teams, the way they play around these gold laners. And at the same time, James, like I said, having a very comfortable early game this time around where he doesn't have to be that front line guy for the team, right? He's just letting them do what they want.
Ow.
And you can already see he's profiting off that, right? Rapidu uses that Way of the Dragon to stay alive here a little bit longer. And just look at the threat that Mycophobia has on this crew for this time.
Yeah, that small adjustment they did on their lineup really is paying off dividends. They have so much mid control.
Yeah, and yeah, it's great news now for NXPE, playing in a much more comfortable position. Mycophobia goes right under the tower. Oh, this might be a bad decision though.
He goes in, has to flicker out. Luckily he had that. So also Super Prince using the real world manipulation. They're gonna hold on to their tower a little bit longer because honestly, with 2 towers down already, NEXTPLAY EVOS looking for another one, but hold on, they're gonna get Rapidude here. He's gonna be still alive for a bit longer, but the surprise from Sensui as Yelly Haze has to be careful. There's the crossbow tank coming out. Mycophobia still, he goes down finally, but Nets also falls here. Gonna be a 1-for-1. Quite a bit of action already in the mid lane.
That's a win for NXPE.
And
Yes,
what's more,
NXPE. For a second, my eyes were like, wait a minute. Oh yes, I was right. It was a roamer for the gold lane. Another win there for the boys in blue. It's blue, right? Light blue? Sea blue?
see,
Aquamarine,
I don't know,
Cyan.
It's a
something like
version
that.
of blue.
So overall, I think at this point, NXP is really cashing in on every lane that they can.
Yeah.
And obviously, H2O feels more like an assassin now than a tank because of the damage output he can put on this Karina. I actually want to double check the items after this. But after that, obviously they have all the control they can ask for.
Oh, Mycophobia finding another
Boom.
target, and Rapidude falls here.
He blew up.
Just literally blown up there one after another. Mycophobia finding moments.
Man, it's like Mycophobia looked at Rapidude and said, hey man, nice game one. I can do that too, bro.
at that.
I'll use the Kufra. I'm going to lead my team to get the pickoffs, the victories. And right now, NXP are in the lead on the back of this Kufra of Mycophobia, just finding the pickoffs.
We just confirmed that H2O just locked in the Holy Crystal. So, yeah, that Karina's gonna sting a little bit, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, there. Oh, it's a damaged Karina, not
It
going
is.
on the defensive route at all. So this is an NXPE lineup that wants to end things fast. Again, now they are thinking about the 1-1 again because, okay, now we have the Kufra. So if we go for the Karina tank build, the Karina will just have to wait until the last minute and use the ultimate refresh. But no, if we build it with damage, we can follow up right away. Great response here by NXPE.
Oh, okay.
A little bit of a boo-boo.
Yeah, he tried. They tried to make a play here in the bottom side. The rest of the team actually going to respond too because they're still focusing.
Ouch.
Look at the
Oh,
damage
man.
coming out from Donut here. Meanwhile, H2O does go down himself. That's going to be another turret on the eyes of NEXTPLAY EVOS as they grab another one. That's 4 now for the game. And they're going to be working on this tier 1 in the mid lane as well. They have all the space they need in ONIC Philippines' side of the map.
Yeah. Now NXPE are in a comfortable spot as we head into the part of the game where we'll be fighting for Lords more. Although Rapidude was actually able to find a good play there in the mid lane. H2 was caught off cam, but what happened was H2 is in the shrub where Yelly Haze is now. Mycophobia Rapidude was where Mycophobia was just now, and when H2 decided to cross into the mid, Rapidude, with the help of Ryota and Super Friends, was able to find H2 and get the kill, or Nets rather.
Yeah, good funneling here as well. NXP, again, the downside of having you on a Karina that has full damage is if your enemy is confident enough, you can get bursted out. We saw that happen earlier.
Yep.
But overall, NXP is not letting anything go. Now they're sticking together a lot, and that might be a problem for ONIC. And I think this Lord should be an easy take once NXPE sees that, hey, wait a second, ONIC is downstairs.
There's no one
We
here.
can kind of take it, boys.
Yeah, actually the moment they saw Ryota show up in the map, that was already the sign for them that, oh, okay, it doesn't seem like anyone's in the purple buff area of ONIC, and that was a right call.
Free Lord.
Free Lord, free purple buff as well.
I think ONIC Philippines is just like, guys, let's just get one turret.
Yeah.
Let's just focus on this bottom lane. No one's there. We give up that first Lord of the game. It's not that big of a deal. We got to get this turret down. So they're happy with the turret, but now they got to play this defensive mode. And also, already, once again, look at NEXTPLAY EVOS just setting up for a moment here. Mycophobia, gonna just, I mean, that's the thing, right? With or without the conceal, there's a huge threat here from NEXTPLAY
I
EVOS.
feel like there's always a threat from Mycophobia for some reason. Even though he's used the Flicker,
Yeah.
he's used the Tyrant's Rage, there's always something going to come out from this guy. And that's just what you do when you have a team like NXPE who can always follow up on the smallest things that you can do on the map.
Yeah.
Now patience from both teams is required. Rapidude in a good spot for info as well. It's a bit. ONIC will just really have to play defensive here. Already the twin blades for the Karina, so that's a Karina with a lot of damage output. If NXP can just find that good setup, it doesn't have to be a perfect setup, just a good setup. Get 2, get 3.
Yeah, Mycophobia goes in, not able to catch anything, but there's going to be the return. Has to flicker out to survive. Still going to be working on the Lord. Nets able to grab a kill, though. Happy with that one. Got to be careful as he goes back to recall. They don't lose anybody just yet.
Look at
now
Sensui.
NEXTPLAY are looking to get but Rapidude gets away the dragon, but into nothing as he falls here. Sensui now looking for Donut and finds the target, but gets deleted off the map by H2O. So that is going to be a 2-for-2 trade, and ONIC Philippines is still holding on to all their turrets in the base.
Great defensive effort by ONIC-PH, being able to turn it into trades. They got Donut taken out, and they also gave space for Nets to farm a little bit here in the bottom lane, but Nets needs to go home. Nets, you're in trouble.
Guys, in
James
trouble,
smells
man.
you. Oh,
They don't know.
They don't know. He can recall.
What?
Nets, you should recall. Nets?
Nets?
Nets. I know Nets can't hear us right now, but he's safe. He's safe. They didn't see it.
He's playing operative there, just literally staying in that bush.
Yeah,
not
Nets
gonna
is
recall.
Nets is
listen.
doing his best NEXTPLAY EVOS impression right now.
Yeah, best Sensui impression, actually. Sensui actually just held back so long.
Yeah.
And destroyed Donut, but also was obliterated in literally a second.
Yeah, it's like, I got the marksman, guys. I did my job.
I wonder what's gonna happen here for Nets.
Yeah.
I think he's just waiting for the Lord to come up here. Like, that is his position. He's like, I got it.
I can wait here until the Lord spawns.
Yeah. If no one in NXP check that and somehow Nets finds the play to turn things around, I bet Yelly Hayes is gonna be laughing because he's like, hey, I did that with a Eudora at one time.
That is true.
So this positioning right now, it is a signature NXP thing to do.
Yeah.
He's really just waiting, but no.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a sign. They
man.
don't have a lot of info. It was like, it's time for you to go back.
Yeah, they got the call. You know, we're not even going to contest this. Lord, just give it up.
It's a fair call, but that's a sign that ONIC is actually just on reactive mode here.
Yeah.
They're waiting for NXP to make a bad move. They're waiting for them to make a huge blunder here and there, and then they capitalize. That's not usually a good sign for a team. We have seen teams come back from that. But overall, the team that is more proactive usually can get ahead in terms of surprises.
Yeah.
So we'll see if that's going to be the case here for ONIC, as we do see the Lord marching up on top.
Will have to be one big counter punch by ONIC to turn this around. Mycophobia needs to make a misstep, or at least ONIC needs to do their best to avoid the setup from the Kufra. Have Nets pop off that crossbow attack, not early, but get those marks in so then they can go for the cleanup. But Sensui and Super Prince have a lot to do in terms of being able to deal damage and dish out the control that ONIC needs. It's gonna be a tough hill to climb for ONIC-PH.
Here we go, Mycophobia charging up. Lord's still going to be working on the turret. Should go down in the next hit, as it does. Topside now exposed here. ONIC Philippines on the defense. Once again, look at the damage coming out from Donut, forcing Nets back. Now the focus on the mid side. Minions are going to be cleared here. Lord also going to fall. ONIC Philippines in a good position once again. NEXTPLAY EVOS taking the discipline route and going to be happy with that as they work on taking the resources at the hands of ONIC Philippines.
Yeah, great control there by NXPE not to go for the end right away. Mycophobia was actually almost caught out by Rapidude, but the bouncing ball stopped it. Rapidude. These two tanks, these two roamers, just sidestepping each other right now.
That's good for NXPE to actually just have a lot of respect to what Rapidude can do, knowing that he has the flicker.
Yes.
So they don't want to go in on one by one. And that's also delaying the attack of NXPE so much as well.
I really thought Mycophobia and NXP would actually go for it there. That was a clear target for Mycophobia, but they are still going for the disciplined route. They're waiting for the next Lord. And yeah, they're just freezing lanes as much as possible. Of course, at one point, they're going to stop the freeze.
Sensui, though, just taking a big damn coming out from James here. That was a little questionable on the placement for Sensui.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to
That's all you have to say. Yeah.
Because the information was there. The members of NEXTPLAY EVOS were in mid lane. They pushed out the minion wave. So that should have been a sign for Sensui that, oh, I need to get out of the bottom lane as fast as possible. But Maybe a miscommunication, something. There's things that we don't see or hear. But NEXTPLAY EVOS capitalized on that. That was a good play by NEXTPLAY EVOS.
Yeah, and now this is the time, right? NEXTPLAY EVOS can actually decide to just go ahead and take this turret as they do. Looking for an initiation, and Donut pops the damage, forcing Nets back once again. Real world mid-lane is going to come down. H2O takes quite a bit of damage himself, and he's cleaned up as he's taken out the world. They find another one as they misstep for NEXTPLAY EVOS with that Way of the Dragon. And now Ryota focusing on James, the 1-for-1 in the jungle, waiting for the team to come in with the falling Star Moon. James has to flicker out to survive that one.
Was this not exactly what we were talking about?
Yep, it was. Where did that come from? NEXTPLAY EVOS tried to capitalize on an ONIC mistake, but then it was ONIC who capitalized on a NEXTPLAY EVOS hiccup there, and now we have a fight for the Lord, but it doesn't seem like NEXTPLAY EVOS will actually be able to contest it.
Yeah, one of the biggest boo-boos I've ever seen today, and we will see if ONIC can actually do something about it.
There you go. Lord's going to be secured here. Then Sensui gets it, and right now, it's shifted. Once again, NEXTPLAY EVOS is going to be on the defense here. This is a tough one.
What the biggest surprise for me there is it was H2O who was caught, followed by Hayes.
Yeah.
Usually they're the most conservative players on that lineup, and they were the ones who actually caused that.
Yeah, Rapidude also on the side of ONIC-PH got a great way of the Dragon to help secure that kill onto Hayes after Hayes attempted to assist H2 with getting out of the ONIC base. But now the Lord marching down the bottom lane. The biggest threat ONIC has shown to NXPE this entire game. A sudden turnaround from out of nowhere. Will NEXTPLAY EVOS be able to keep this from a sweep happening in favor of ONIC? Or will ONIC be able to say, it's definitely our time, it's sweep time?
Focus on the bottom side here. That's going to be the exposed base here. NEXTPLAY EVOS, they're going to back off a little bit. Mycophobia doesn't have the flicker. There's the real world manipulation coming down. Net's going to look for the crossbow tank. Can he find it? There you go. He gets it off with the Winter Trox to stop it. Sensui now going to be the focus of H2O, but they find a kill on Mycophobia. H2O gets focused, but look at the base on the other side. It's going to be a base race possibly, but they fall. And 3 do fall for ONIC Philippines. Meanwhile, Super Fritz still trying to buy time, should be able to get back here. James sitting in the base, 1 versus 1 versus Ryota in Pandemonium cross map.
The crowd's going wild, ladies and gents.
Oh my goodness, NEXTPLAY EVOS might actually just turn this around. Yelly Hayes, he gets it. Ryota is the last man standing here.
Ryota 2 versus 1. Meanwhile, Yelly Hayes making his way too. Ryota takes quite a bit of damage. Donut pop it off, finds the kill, and that's gonna be it. NEXTPLAY EVOS takes it to game number 3.
That was the recovery if I've ever seen one.
Both coaches, and I can't wait to see what comes out here for game number 3 as we jump into the draft.
Yep, loading in the draft for game number 3. You didn't think it would happen, but here it is. It is going to be a big question mark whether or not we will see the Helbert, number 1. Number 2, any changes in identity here? Are you going to stick with what works?
This will be just a very personal preference. I don't want to see Wanwan anymore, or maybe
actually
don't pick up Wanwan so early.
Let's ban it.
Yeah, ban it out. But then for NXP, what will happen is the entire draft picture, their draft understanding will change with that one pick. Taking away that Wanwan means you're giving up something else that will change the flavor of how ONIC would want to draft and play the game.
And Faramis will get picked up, and then we'll see a Valentina, but obviously it's banned out. But if a Faramis does get picked up, the team that picks it up is going to have such a big advantage because of the Valentina ban.
I think this is going to be the same bans. Let's see if that's going to be...
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, there's the Natalia.
That's the Valentina.
So, you know,
the Faramis.
Yeah, the Faramis ban. So, if this is the Faramis ban, which we're assuming, ONIC Philippines probably just going to go ahead and take the Wanwan again, right?
Yeah, they will.
There's the Faramis, and let's see.
Third time's a charm, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah. Again, can't blame these two teams drafting exactly the same way and picking, because, again, if you change up your band so much, you change up the picture of the game in such a big way. And it was, once again, they're going for Irithels, back-to-back Irithel games, and then the Julian, first 2 picks for NXPE. Let's see if ONIC will change up their response.
They want a rematch. That's what I'm seeing here.
Well, I think if you're ONIC Philippines, you could actually maybe just ban out the Kufra. Maybe you don't want to deal with the Kufra this time, right? Because that was really early to mid-game that's what Mycophobia was doing, right? He was just finding every single moment for his team for NEXTPLAY EVOS. And, you know, even with Esmeralda and Cho popping up again, there we go. So,
Exactly the same.
are we at
draft.
game 2?
Hey guys, you know what would be really
Deja
good
vu.
here? I feel it in my soul, a Hellcurt. I'm not letting that go.
Again, that's still a possibility here.
Now they could still change this
Yeah.
with
Yeah,
the
yeah,
bans, right? But there's the Grok ban. Does ONIC Philippines, once again, do they want to be like, yo, get the Kufra out of here.
Yeah,
We don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
I would love to see a Kufra ban because I want to see.
Yep, there we
There
go.
it is.
There, okay.
It's a very clear voice. Kufra sounds like he has cotton in his mouth sometimes.
Reminds me of Grok's voice lines.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
There's the
See,
Atlas.
another,
Atlas.
also Atlas. Maybe these guys kind of hang out in the same pub.
Yeah.
You know, and they kind of drink the same stuff.
They hang out in the tank room.
The
Yeah.
tank room.
I wonder what that looks like.
The tank club. Yeah.
Tank club.
It's like an exclusive club where they,
I just pictured the couches, and Franco's there too.
Yeah.
So it's just a bunch of couches in a room with all these beefy boys sitting on the couches.
they got
Way
all
too
got
big.
such deep voices,
Yeah.
you know.
You know what? Because of how the drafts look like, they can literally just pick the same things, except the only thing that'll be different is just the Kufra.
Yeah,
Obviously.
I know.
Like, ONIC can still go Ipakito. No way.
No, that's just-
really no. No.
They're just,
just a hover.
yeah, it's just a hover.
Yeah.
They're-
Yeah, Leslie Mains are shouting now, though. They're, you know.
Yeah. Hayabusa. Oh, okay. Pretty different there.
Oh my God! Once more, damage for days.
Yeah.
Big damn lineups.
Yeah, this is what I like to see, right? Once more into the breach, the big dam here
Nice
that they can bring.
specifically.
Yeah, and actually with the Hayabusa ban, it'll make ONIC think twice about picking something like the Eve. So
Oh, you're gonna get creamed there.
yeah, it's gonna be difficult. They could honestly go Kagura's still open. Kagura's gonna be a good
Works
pickup for
well
them in
against
the
a
mid.
Haya.
Yeah.
Kind of get out of there. Get back into the.
Or a
team.
Selena. It stops the rotations again. And because since you took out the Kufra here,
Yeah.
it's gonna be good. Yeah. Go with the Selena again. Go with a lot of control for your tank. Oh, this time they play the Ruby and then the Selena. This is gonna be heavily reliant once again on. It's gonna be similar to the idea of how ONIC wanted to play game number 1.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna be seeing the Jungle Cho again.
Yeah, and this time around, Rapidoot, I feel like he's gonna have a better time. No bouncing ball to stop him from just dominating that mid lane.
Yeah, that's why I want to see what Mycophobia wants to go with here, right, for his roam, because, again, if he goes on a roam where he can't find those initiations, that's where we're going to see them, NEXTPLAY EVOS, struggle a little bit, unless,
Yeah, it's
once again, the
tough.
Julian can help, right? Now, that's the thing before, they weren't able to really utilize those enhanced chains in game 1, but looks like they're going to go ahead and take a Jawhead. So
Classic.
this is... Hey, this is still a good choice from Mycophobia, right? You have multiple options for you to find picks if you can, and you've got quite a bit of damage output. But the thing, once again, that they lack is that sturdiness, that kind of beefiness in matching against ONIC Philippines. Now, they're not the most tanky either,
Yeah.
but they've got great health bars in comparison to NEXTPLAY EVOS.
Yeah, it's gonna be a battle of who gets to initiate first. These are lineups that, yes, they can go with a slow front-to-back team fight approach, but they don't need to. Just looking at the lineups of these two teams, I'm seeing a scramble every team fight. I'm seeing unique points of entry, not necessarily just going for, okay, initiate, then we fight. You're gonna see players from both sides, ex-players from both sides, just go and approach it through different off angles, take their opponents by surprise. It's gonna be a fun match.
Loading up on the game number 3, ladies and gents. Identities are being locked in as we head on to the draft. After the draft here for NEXTPLAY EVOS and ONIC Philippines, they're sticking with it. They want to show the world what they're made of.
Mobile Legends.
We are going to see some small, scrappy fights for sure around the mid lane because of these picks.
Yeah, and game number 3 here, again, that jungle matchup, I think H2O, this is what we've typically seen from Hayabusas. If they can have a good early game and not struggle too much, then they are very valuable. But that damage, once again, later on in the game, it does fall off a little bit. So I feel like NEXTPLAY EVOS, definitely with the lineup they have, they want to end this game sooner than later because ONIC Philippines will scale very well as well into the late game.
Yeah, considering they do have the airfill, they have that little bit of security, but crowd control will favor ONIC for sure.
Yeah. Wow. The aggression. Once again, this is exactly the comfort for H2O, right? This is what we were talking about before even game one started. You get to play that assassin hero, running with the assassin emblem, and you want to be aggressive. That's exactly the identity that we're seeing here from NEXPLAY. EVOS, Abyssal Arrow actually landing here on Donut, and it's gonna be a solo kill for Super Friends here with the first blood.
Man, if I was Donut, I'd be saying my bad, my bad, my bad. Because I really thought he'd be able to sidestep it. Oh, look at that entry. The combo.
The finesse.
The aggression. Lots
a
of
one.
adjectives.
1 for 1, man. That's a lot of objectives that you've got there. And so far, NXPE are actually being more aggressive all throughout the map here.
Yep.
Save for that little bit of a beautiful arrow there from Super Friends.
Oh, Rapid Dude, is he actually going to commit to this one? Doesn't have the flicker, but should be fine. Oh, but the response from NEXPLAY EVOS, H2O going in, does not have, he does actually have the Shadow Kill. He didn't want to commit it because now the turtle's up. So let's see. Sensui going to be full health here, does have the Retribution available. H2O definitely wants to get some buffs here. And neither team wants to commit to that turtle because they got to be safe. It is the 1-for-1. And at this point, this is crucial for both junglers.
Right now for ONIC, there's going to be a lot of pressure on Sensu and Rapid Dude on the turtle fights. Rapid Dude really needs to time all his abilities, his second and third specifically, because those are your key control abilities that can stop the tempo of NXPE to give space for Sensui to be able to get the turtle, because Sensui has to stay longer in turtle and objective fights, and it seems like ONIC is going to get this one without a problem, because H2 on the Hayabusa doesn't even need to be there. He could just throw out his shadow in, try to retreat, then shadow out. It's going to be Sensui most of the time in difficult situations. That's why there's a lot of pressure on the jungle and the roamer of ONIC-PH for objective fights.
Yeah, Mycophobia flickering in here, looking for the setup. Can't find it just yet. Takes quite a bit of damage himself. The CC is too strong as Mycophobia falls, but now H2O goes in with a shadow kill. Can't get nets. And now Sensui making his way. There's the flicker play. I'm offended coming out. H2O gonna get kicked into the bush and falls here over to the hands of Nets as he gets himself 2 kills. Meanwhile, the top side, the knockup on Ryota, but should be fine.
Once more, Rapidoot and Sensui playing so much more confident, even going for the flicker ins.
Yep.
Means that the lack of crowd control here or from NXT is really showing its weakness.
Yeah, all the main crowd control that NXP has is Mycophobia. He actually saw him get to set it up, but not in the way he wanted to, because the moment he was about to get that toss in, there was Super Friends landing the Abyssal Arrow onto the Jawhead to stop him from throwing either the Selena or the 1-1. A tremendous play there by ONIC across the board, and to respond to counter NXPE's attempt to push down bottom.
And again, because of that, they're going to have more confidence to push it here on bot. With, again, Sensui on the backup, very quick here.
Look at that positioning.
Yeah. I mean,
great.
He has full vision.
Yeah, I don't think he wants to commit exactly, especially with, Yelly Haze showing up here, but they're still going to be focusing here on the bottom side of the map.
All right, there it is, Sensui.
Man, as long as no one... Oh, he showed up!
Oh, he goes in. Mycophobia, though. Response to him. There's going to be the knockup now. Yelly Haze trying to help him out. H2O trying to get that buff. And now Mycophobia takes quite a bit of damage. The crossbow of Tang coming out from Nets. Not able to get another kill. H2O trying to get away, but gets stunned by the arrow. And the double kill goes over to Nets. What a synergy play here from ONIC Philippines.
Nets responds incredibly well. This is the third 1-1 game in a row we've seen from him in the series. And every time, he just meshes so well with Rapidoot and Super Friends, always ready to make the most out of the setups of his mid laner and his roamer.
I have to admire as well that NXPE did try to re-engage.
Yes.
They knew where everyone was. They were planning to re-engage once Nets landed from the crossbow Tang.
Oh,
man.
The ejector,
look at
the
this.
unstoppable force, the combination as they find a kill here on the top side. Ryota does fall, but they also lose a turret here, so the cross-map plays from both teams trying to open space around the map.
And that's what happens when their combo works out.
Yeah. Push and pull, back and forth. ONIC-PH, have to be careful for when it meshes and clicks for NXPE. Still not an incredibly big lead here. The next team fight or next skirmish we'll see will determine the outcome of the next objective fight in the game. Dominant size already picked up by Ryota early. He's going to want to reduce, of course, the movement speed that NXPE has, and the healing and the brute force plate pickup by Sensui because, again, I mentioned he's going to be staying longer in areas of danger. He needs the stacking of magic defense that you can get with that brute force breastplate.
All right, considering they have knowledge of the map, NXP are looking more confident here, but look at this.
Way the Dragon setting up on James. Here comes Nets looking for another kill to add to his belt, but Sensui takes it from him. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, they find another kill on Ryota as he falls, plus the turret. So it's going to be a 1-for-1 trade. And now NEXPLAY EVOS still looking for more. Super Fritz getting knocked up here. And another kill goes in the hands of NEXPLAY EVOS.
It was a beautiful chain there. And again, both teams trying to play one part of the map. Overall, we are even Stevens on gold almost.
Yeah, junglers are the ones setting the tempo. The teams are just going along with them. ONIC-PH won't be able to get the tower up top. I'm quite surprised. I thought Ness would just go ahead and try to take it out right away, but here's the bottom lane again.
Oh man, Ryota gonna get killed again here. Mikophobia popping the flicker. Rapidly looking for a setup because Sensui now joining the party. Looking for a kick, gets the way of the Dragon off. Should be a kill going over to him, but still has the shield and able to throw him over. But Sensui not done yet. Wants the kill, finally grabs it, but Donut finds the target himself as Rapidude falls. It's gonna be a trade here in the bottom side. Meanwhile, on the top side, another falls for NEXPLAY EVOS, and Donut takes a turret.
Top lane was a mess, but bottom lane, NXPE were walking tall here.
Yeah, both teams just, I wouldn't say they're avoiding each other, but they're both just mirroring each other's movements. Wants to make approaches from the top lane, the other wants to make approaches from the bottom lane. They're both getting something out of it. Nets is 5-0-1. A Wind of Nature already for the marksman. No defensive item for the Irithel just yet. Look at that massive gold gap between the Irithel of NXPE and the 1-1 of ONIC-PH. That's why NXPE decided to give ONIC-PH this turtle. It was way too risky at this point. The lead on this 1-1 is massive right now.
That's right. It's actually distributed. The gold for ONIC is NXP is distributed among their damage dealers, so maybe a good sign, but at the same time, you can't expect Donut to be a hero compared to what Nets is doing for ONIC.
Yeah, I mean, literally so much is on Nets here. And this is what we typically see from a 1-1, right? So NEXPLAY EVOS, again, how do you get to the 1-1? They have a lot more tools here than they did in the previous game 1, right? So even if Mikophobia just uses all he has here on this Jawhead, at least you can get to that moment. But you have to work around a lot of dodging the arrows, dodging the way of the Dragon Seal. And now here comes the setup again. Into the turret they go. Mikophobia gonna fall here. Crossbow tank gonna pop. Yelly Haze still alive though. ONIC Philippines happy with a kill and they back off for now.
That's pretty magical, I would say, with Mikophobia with a very nice try, but the follow-up was just not there.
Not gonna be enough just yet, especially since that was Sensui. They caught off a lot of defense, but he's getting melted!
Wow, as Sensui falls here in the mid lane, a response from NEXPLAY EVOS, they grab a kill themselves.
You saw the power of NXP when they have one target on their height, on their crosshairs.
It seems like NXP needs to attempt to pick off more. A full-on team fight, it's too risky, especially if they can't get that 1-1. And again, the 1-1 is the main problem right now for NXPE to deal with. And Nets is positioning really well. Rapidude and Super Frizz are setting him up well.
Yep, and here we go. Mikophobia gonna be the focus again as he falls. This is hard to see because Mikophobia is looking for moments again for his team, but the Jawhead is a little bit too squishy here in comparison to the Goofer from last game.
I feel for him, because it is just a difficult game to set for, considering NXP's lineup is excessively fragile.
Oh, NEXPLAY was a tough hill to climb for them. ONIC, this is a much better matchup for them in this game number 3. Slightly similar in terms of the drafting again, but without having to worry with a Kufa around. We are starting to see and get reminded as to why Jawhead has sort of fallen out of favor for most teams right now, but let's see if Mikophobia can make a play.
Yeah, Shadow Kill also going to be popped in the mid side here. Lord less than half health. ONIC Philippines might want to just reset this one, as they do have to be careful because H2O does not have that retribution. Donut going to be continuing to take down this tier 1 turret. They're going to be happy with that. The Lord still being worked on. jungle between both teams here, as they are both in full force. MPL-PH goes
go.
over the flicker, gets to toss the ejector up, and they're going full force for the Lord, but it's secured
H2.
in a finesse style from H2O. And the response, the way of the dragon on James, looking for a kill. Sensui gets knocked up, double kill over to James, plus the Lord for NEXPLAY EVOS.
That was actually exactly what you wanted to see, but right now NXPE are trailing off. They want to go and finish as soon as possible. They know that Nets is out. They're capitalizing hard on that one.
H2 didn't even need to be there so heavily. Mentioned it earlier, as a Hayabusa, show up your shadow, shadow in, retry, shadow out. Exactly what happened, the dream scenario for NEXPLAY EVOS. This time they were able to get the setups that they needed with a little bit of help from the Lord. Now on the defensive, there is still a big gap between the two marksmen of these two teams. Irithel is still incredibly behind, but Irithel already has the Wind of Nature. That's all she needs at this point. But NEXPLAY EVOS cannot full-on hard commit, even though they have a lead on their side there. It's going to be a lot of pressure now for James and Yelly Hayes to be the ones to deal most of the damage and the setups with their combinations. In the last team fight for the Lord, James was in a great position to deal a good amount of damage. Yelly Hayes as well. They're going to need to reflect that for this push to make the most out of it.
Obviously, ONIC has better, clear here in this matchup.
Yeah.
They will be able to defend, and they want to go for that long game, obviously with Nets being your primary damage dealer. But isn't it better for NXPE to go for the long game? I think ONIC has to be more. They have to take more risks here.
I mean, if you think about that previous Lord, what did NEXPLAY EVOS get out of that? They got some more gold. They do have the 3K gold in their favor, but Donut, like Renmar has pointed out, Donut's pretty behind in terms of economy versus Nets. So yes, as the game drags on here, it allows Donut to catch up so that when it comes to those team fights later on for those more crucial Lords, he will be able to match up with Nets and be that threat himself. Meanwhile, Nets is having to worry so much with what MPL-PH is doing,
Yes.
H2O and the rest.
That's why it's difficult for ONIC to take risks.
Here it is.
This is a
This is it.
calculated risk.
That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
But again, NXPE very much aware. It's very difficult for them to get out of this one.
Yeah.
Conceal versus conceal.
Yeah, actually wouldn't even call that a risk. That was just a textbook play.
On the go.
To conceal like that. And ONIC will just respect the fact that they need to play around the Abyssal Arrows, the info that they can get with those concealed plays. Because it's going to be hard for ONIC to force a fight without them knowing where James is and then Yelly Hayes. It's okay for them to find out where Donut is, but they really need to find out where James is right now. Because in terms of the economy, he's only second to H2's levels, but of course with the junglers, they're expected to be the ones on top. But James having that amount of gold and amount of XP that we saw him earlier in terms of the items he has built, he can dish out a lot of damage to ONIC if they're not careful. So James is what they're really looking out for.
Yeah, and again, if you're ONIC, you want to forward as much as possible. Don't let yourself get stuck behind and not be able to check these bushes, or else NXPE might just overwhelm you. And now they are the ones who are trying to get the most out of this Lord. NXPE must answer this though.
Again, I like what H2O has been doing for the majority of the game, just clearing lanes, letting Sensui do the majority of the work on the Lord, and then he usually just comes in and takes it. So this time, ONIC Philippines still going to be taking the Lord to less than half health here. Conceal play going to be coming out. MPL-PH could be looking for the injector play. Not going to be able to find it just yet. There's enhanced chains, and the crossbow of Tang does come out. But is it going to be enough? Rapidude flickers out. Yelly Hayes falls. Nets pops the wind chant. He's going to be fine as he shuts down Donut. Give the man a triple. And now James on the hunt here. Meanwhile, H2O working in the base. Nets now working on James, but James gets a kill himself. Immortality to be popped. H2O does back off here. Nets now takes out James. What a play from ONIC Philippines.
That should have been a Maniac, but did take too long. Became
the arrow!
a mega kill. Oh my goodness.
Oh, Shadow kill. Can he survive through it? Super Prince is really low. H2 trying to dance around, but no! No! Says ONIC. No! Says Super Prince. The Lord will be ours, and this is a nightmare for NEXPLAY EVOS.
This is exactly what Naizu said. You don't need to hit all those arrows.
Yeah.
Just hit the one that matters. Hit it onto the Hayabusa and take him out so that they can't defend properly.
Huge momentum shift here for ONIC Philippines, as once again, NEXPLAY EVOS was pretty dominant in that gold lead, and they've lost it. So now the assault on the base here. Sensui pushing him back. It's thrown into the base. Still going to be alive, though, as he finds Donut. Meanwhile, he does go down. The base is going to be worked on. Can they do it? ONIC Philippines takes the series.
That is a 2-1, and definitely a great way to start the day here